Good morning, guys. So today's video has got me so excited because I am including some of you in this video, which is just, oh my god. This one is very special because it's coming from people who deal with eating disorders themselves, and most specifically this video is going to be about people that deal with bulimia. The things that I'm going to be reading out today are things that we, myself included, because yes, as I've said before, if you've seen any of my videos, I am recovering from bulimia still, and I'm recovering from restrictive tendencies and anorexia and kind of a bit all over the shop in my previous experience with eating disorders. So we don't need to talk about that because that's in my other videos, but today's video we are focusing on bulimia in particular, and these are things that we wish that we could tell society in general and also people that just don't understand eating disorders. So for the most basic example, so we all know what this video is about, so we're all on the same page. Something everyone has heard, like I'm sure of it, I'm sure everyone in the world has heard, is they have heard a stranger or a relative or someone they love tell someone who is underweight to eat a sandwich. You can remove yourself. So getting straight into it, I'm just going to read out the first one, and it says, if you think joking about suicide is insensitive to those with mental illness, then you shouldn't mind self-induced vomiting as a joke either. Thank you. I'm going to try really hard to not agree really wholeheartedly and passionately about every single post that I'm going to read out. But you can relate this to so many things. Like, so many people still joke about self-harm and they'll do the action of self-harming and it's not on. It's just not on, okay? It's not on. And so miming self-induced vomiting is not okay either. So this person has also said in reference to making more room for food. Okay, just something to be wary about. I get it. I get sometimes it's funny. I don't always take this one to heart personally, but just think about what you're doing, doll. Just think about it. Okay, this next one. Just because you purge does not mean you're bulimic. I'm so grateful that this one was sent in because it's so important. And honestly, look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I understand if you don't know eating disorders. I see how you would think purging and bulimia are the exact same thing. Purging disorder, bulimia, same thing. I get it. I totally see that. But they're not actually the same thing. Purging disorder, yes, can include vomiting, but it doesn't come as a response to binge eating, which is what bulimia is. Bulimia is when you will binge eat compulsively, and then as a response, you feel like you need to purge out those calories in some form. So that could be via exiting, oh my god. Purging can be via vomiting, it can be by exercising, it can be by restricting. Bulimia does not always mean that you purge via self-induced vomiting, and that is so important because I have met so many people over the years that have bulimia, and it is completely through over-exercising, or it's through restricting, and they don't purge at all, like, as in purge via vomiting. So very important. Most bulimics are normal weight. Please stop invalidating me because I don't look emaciated. My eating disorder is still very real and has had very real consequences for my health, social life, well-being, and family. It's not about the weight. This one breaks my heart because it's so true, and I wish that it wasn't. But these days, if you are not emaciated, if you are not completely underweight and look sick and brittle and very ill, if you don't look like that, you're not treated the same way. And it's awful because you can be absolutely any size and can be purging via any form all day, every day, and not be treated with the same kind of respect. You're not treated in the same way as if you were emaciated. So for me, I was quite sick before I actually got underweight, which is obviously the case of how it happens with everyone, but people don't really think about that. They think, oh, you know, she looks fine or he looks fine, so therefore it's not a problem until they look sick. But they don't realize that by the time you actually look that sick, you're so gone, because it takes hard work, it takes mental hard work and determination to get your body to that point, but that determination and that hard work is what's getting you that sick. It's what's making you get into this terrible place, and by the time you're at that size, You know, you can have any eating disorder at any size and you don't need all of the symptoms to have it and be valid. This is a good point too. This is kind of covering what I just said, but also any size, I'm just going to repeat that for the people in the back. You can be any size and have any eating disorder. Okay, so yes, I understand that you need to be a certain weight to be diagnosed with certain eating disorders. I understand that. This video is directed to people that don't understand eating disorders and that are saying, you know, oh, you can't be sick if you're overweight, or oh, you're definitely sick if you're underweight. No. And another thing on this one too, just because you don't have, say for example, super pale skin. So for when I got sick, I got pale, and you know, some people, their fingers might turn blue, like their fingernails might go blue or purple. Not everyone gets all those symptoms, not everyone loses their hair. People can get super sick and still never lose their hair. I don't know how. I would, like back in the day, I would have been like, tell me your ways, because I don't want to be in that state anymore, but I didn't want to lose my hair, and I did, and it sucked. So not everyone does it, because I've met people that never lost their hair, and I'm like, but how did you do that? And this person has also added, stop comparing someone's eating disorder to someone else's. This is really important because this is what people with eating disorders actually do ourselves. That's why I've said before in previous videos that having friends with eating disorders can be quite difficult, and you need to know your own mental strength to see whether you'd be okay with that. Because for me personally, some of my bestest friends in the whole world have had eating disorders or still currently have them, and I never felt like I was in competition with anyone. I met a lot of people that I met online but didn't meet in person, and they would talk about, you know, certain things that might trigger other people, but for me, that didn't do that for me. One of my bestest friends in the whole entire world, I've known her for years. I met her because I had an eating disorder, so my eating disorder gave me good things. That wasn't my eating disorder. Anyway, bulimia is not failed anorexia. Oh my, rip the curtain down. I've had enough. Take me outside, put me in the bin. I am done. Literally, this one just drives me absolutely, this one used to get me, and this is why I'm passionate about this one, because I used to think this about myself. My bulimia actually developed during my recovery from anorexia, and I used to think it'd be so much easier if I could just be anorexic and like if I just didn't fail at that, which is really sad because I developed my bulimia during recovery, when I first started to recover. So I think that's really sad, and that's why I think I connect with this one a lot, because I think this might be something that we feel more ourselves rather than what society says, because I've never really, personally, I could be so wrong, but I've never had anyone say anything along those lines to me, ever. That was always just my own voice in my head. It's physically and mentally exhausting. People don't understand, and it's okay, because I feel like it's our job to tell them. If people don't understand a mental health that they don't have, that's not their fault. But we can help them, and that's why I'm doing this video. But honestly, people don't understand how mentally and emotionally draining bulimia is, because it's not even just how we feel about, you know, after we've been sick. It's not like we just feel a bit tired or something like that, but the act of purging releases endorphins in your body so you feel good, okay? But that doesn't last, that runs out, and the only way I can really describe it so people understand is if you think about a drug. You know, you take it and you might feel super good for a little bit, and then that feeling goes away, and when it's gone, you feel sadder because this drug has pulled happiness into your moment, and when it's over, your body is actually depleted of those chemicals in its brain. And that's the only way I can really describe it with purging. For me personally, you know, you do it and you feel good, and then when it's over, not only do you feel sad because you've just done this awful thing to your body, but you're mentally and emotionally drained because you are depleted. You've used up these extra chemicals in your body, and now you've got less. And it takes a while for that to recharge. Your body doesn't just instantly bounce back and you've got endless happiness. Your body will use it up in times that it feels necessary. And that's what purging does to you. So mentally and physically exhausting? Yes. This one is good. This one is good. Sit down. It's good. Bulimia isn't just about wanting to lose weight or get skinny. It may start like that, but it develops into something so much more so quickly. I've had planned binges of 10,000 calories. I've also had a bowl of veggies for like 100 calories and needed to purge because of the need for control and feeling anxious/uneasy. It's a disease that takes over your life. It isn't something you can just stop. And it isn't for vanity. Because who would shove their fingers down their throat and have their head in a toilet to be vain? It's not about what you're eating, it's not about what you look like, it's not about any of that, it's a mental illness! Oh my god, the amount of times I've had to say that in my whole life, and I'll continue to say it forever, but honestly, they've said that they've had a bowl of veggies for 100 calories and needed to purge because they feel anxious and they're uneasy after eating that. I've been there. I have definitely, more than I can count, eaten a salad. Hello. A salad and been sick after. Or I've had, what's something healthy? I don't know what's healthy. I've just definitely eaten healthy food and purged after. That's not even a question. It's not about what you're eating at all. Okay, this next one I'm going to read and then I'm going to say something about it because this one, you'll see. One of the reasons it's so hard to stop is because binging is fun. Like, people only talk about how shit you feel after a binge, but in the moment, while you're binging, God, it feels great. It makes me feel genuinely powerful, and I don't even know if I'll ever be able to give that up. Every time I try recovery, the reason I come back to this hell is because I miss feeling nostalgia for binging. This makes me so sad. I have spoken about this before, about that euphoric feeling you get when you binge, but I don't know, that really hit me. I feel like reading it from someone else, even though I've read about this so many times, because you do, and it, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. Like you feel euphoric, and I've spoken about it before, and kind of like what I said in this video even, you feel like you've taken a drug, because it's an addiction, and when you give in to that addiction, you get all this dopamine release in your brain and you feel really happy. And it's just really sad reading that from someone else, because reading it, it's like I can see how sick that is to say, and it's heartbreaking because that's the reality of the eating disorder and that's the reality of mine. It's not like I'm just sitting here reading this and these are past experiences. I'm still dealing with this, and that's why I've got this channel now, because I'm talking about this in a literal sense. I'm talking about this now. I'm not someone who's fully recovered, and it's just so heartbreaking to read someone else writing that binging is fun and that you feel so good while you do it, because it's not. Like, I agree with this person and I love that they've written it, but it's heartbreaking. I don't even know what to say. I'm so sorry guys, I'm just rambling. Okay, moving on. Bulimia is not a magic that allows you to eat anything you crave on a diet while still losing weight. That moment you realize you don't even enjoy food anymore, but just can't stop eating and vomiting, even disgusting stale foods. I'm so proud to be someone who's making these videos and being able to speak for other people, because I'm not ashamed to say these things. But I'm so thankful that I have people like this behind me who can send this stuff in so I can share it to you guys, because this is such a reality of bulimia, and it's kind of a mixture between that other one that someone posted when they said bulimia is not about vanity. There is nothing vain about having your head over a toilet bowl after binging on a bunch of food until you feel sick. It is not about being vain, it's not about what you look like, it's about gaining a sense of control, which people don't understand, and I get that. I get it. If you don't have an eating disorder, it does not sound good, because it is not. Do not do it at home. Do not try this at home. That moment you realize you don't even enjoy food anymore, that is a thing. We hate what we do most of the time. It is not enjoyable for the most part, and that I'm only saying that because of what we talked about before. Having an eating disorder is not glamorous. It is not beautiful. It is not a sense of something that you want. It is not good. And I don't know how else to say it, but I just feel like it needs to be screamed by so many people, because when I was younger, I was definitely someone who thought having an eating disorder was glamorous. I thought having anorexia was like the most, how do I even describe how I felt as a child? When I saw posts about, because this is back in the pro-anorexia days, hello, thank God that's over, I used to look at these posts and these photos that would say like, oh, this is what you do and this is how you can do this and this and this, and I used to just think, oh my God, if only I could follow all these rules, I would have control and I would be strong, because I obviously didn't feel strong enough in myself and in my life that I had to turn to an eating disorder for help. And I just feel like this is such an honest reality, and it's such a slap in the face, because it's true. When you're bulimic and you're binging, it's not because you want to. If you're binging, it's because there is something mentally wrong, and you will binge on stale food. You will mix food together that does not go together. You will eat things that people would say is purely disgusting, and even you yourself will think it's disgusting most of the time, but you do it anyway. It is not glamorous, and I'm so glad that I can sit here and say this, because it's not okay, and it's not something that I want anyone, even for a second, to think is a form of beauty, because it's not. When people say throwing up is so awful and disgusting, I can't stand when I'm drunk or really sick and I throw up. I've gotten this from quite a few people, and not from people that are being rude, but genuinely curious. They're like, oh, I'm just, like, I don't want to be rude, but how can you stand throwing up? Like, it's so, I hate when I'm sick. Okay, for everyone who has not heard this before, I totally get why you're asking this question. They are not the same even slightly. They're not, they're just, no. If you've been drunk and throwing up, oh my Lord, I'm sorry for you. Like, this is a bulimic telling you, I'm sorry for you. Like, that is not a good time. Being sick and throwing up is one thing, but throwing up when you're bulimic is not the same. Being sick and throwing up is so foul, and it's so gross, because you've got to remember, when you're sick, as in like you've got a bug, when you're sick, you've also got like a headache, you've got that nausea, you might have an upset stomach, you might have cramps. You know, being sick is really, really awful, whereas when you're bulimic, you don't have any of that. It's just the action of throwing up. So you don't have a nasty headache, or you don't feel nauseous or anything like that. Like, you're just doing the action of throwing up. Full stops between every single word. It is not a choice. Thank you very much. It's not that I am poor, it's just that I am in debt because of bulimia. Oh my God, literally. Story of everyone's life. Being disordered is so isolating because it makes me feel so disgusting and unworthy of life. I don't need anyone to point out that it's wasteful and futile. I'm painfully aware of it. Knowing how damaging this is to my health and social life, and how against my values it is, doesn't make it any easier to stop. As someone who suffers greatly from anorexia and bulimia, I want to eat and enjoy food like everyone else. I want to love my body and be satisfied with being a normal weight and not weighing as much as a child. Lastly, I often go through the day wondering if it will be my last day on earth, all because my eating disorder is deadly and unforgiving. Binge eating and bulimia are not the same thing, so we spoke about how purging and bulimia are two different things. Binge eating and bulimia are not the same thing. Just because you binge eat does not mean that you purge via vomiting, exercise, restricting, whatever. You can be someone who has binge eating disorder and you might just binge on food and you might not purge in some form afterwards. So it's very important that if you know someone with an eating disorder, that you speak to them and you let them tell you what their disorder is, especially if you don't understand. Oh, hello. Especially if you don't understand that particular disorder. Just let them talk to you. Just let them tell you yourself. I really hope that whoever posted and allowed me to use their comment, I really hope that you guys get to watch this video, and I hope I've done your comment justice. But I would love to hear back from any of you. If you want to leave a comment on this video, that would be amazing. If there's any videos you want me to cover or anything that you want to be involved with, just let me know, because I'm more than happy to do videos like this, because I actually feel like they have more meaning than me just sitting here on my own talking about my experiences. I love you guys all so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I see you in my next one. Bye guys.